Hello everyone. Welcome to today's episode where we will dive into the world of equations and inequalities. Specifically, we're going to unpack the process of solving equations and inequalities in one variable. Sounds complicated? Well, fear not, we're going to break it down. Firstly, what are equations and inequalities? An equation is a statement that two expressions are equal, while an inequality tells us that two expressions are not equal, and one is greater than or less than the other. For instance, let's take a simple equation x plus 5 is equal to 10. We can solve this by subtracting 5 from both sides to find x equals 5. Inequalities work similarly, but with a slight twist. Say, we have x minus 3 greater than 2. Here, we add 3 to both sides to get x greater than 5. In the real world, understanding equations and inequalities helps us solve problems like calculating the speed needed to reach a destination in a certain time or even managing our budget. For example, if you have $50 and each movie ticket costs $10, the inequality 10x less than or equal to 50 represents how many tickets, x, you can buy without overspending. Now, let's step up the game and talk about quadratic equations. A quadratic equation is a second-degree polynomial with three coefficients, generally represented in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. There are different methods to solve these equations such as factoring, completing the square, and using the quadratic formula. For instance, let's solve x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. First up, factoring. This method involves writing the quadratic as a product of binomial expressions set equal to 0. For our example, we need to find two numbers that add up to minus 5 and multiply to 6. Those numbers are -2 and -3. So, our factored equation becomes x minus 2 and x minus 3 is equal to 0. Setting each factor equal to 0 gives us our solutions, x equals 2 and x equals 3. Next, let's solve this quadratic equation by completing the square. The first step is to rearrange the equation to group the x terms, getting x squared minus 5x equals minus 6. Then, we take half the coefficient of x, square it, and add it to both sides. In our case, minus 5 over 2 squared equals 25 over 4. This gives us x squared minus 5x plus 25 over 4 is equal to 1/4. Now, we can rewrite the left side as a binomial squared, x minus 5 over 2 squared equals 1/4. Taking the square root of both sides, we find x equals 5 halves, positive and negative 1/2. So, our solutions are x equals 2 and x equals 3. Finally, we can use the quadratic formula, which is especially useful when factoring is difficult. The quadratic formula is x equals minus b plus or minus squared root of b squared, minus 4ac and all that over 2a. Here, a, b, and c are the coefficients from the quadratic equation, equals 1, b equals minus 5, and c equals 6. Substituting these values in, we get x equals 5, plus or minus square root of minus 5 squared, minus 4 times 1 and 6, and all that divided by 2 times 1. Simplifying, we again find our solutions to be x equals 2 and x equals 3. Just remember, these equations can model real-world scenarios like the trajectory of a ball being thrown. So, next time you come across equations or inequalities, don't fret. You've got the tools to crack them. Remember, they're not just abstract concepts but tools we use to understand and solve real-world problems. Until next time, keep exploring the world of mathematics.